Hi everyone, welcome to Gnan Cloud Garage. In this session, I'm going to talk about step-by-step guide installing OpenShift Cluster version 4.13 on a single ESXi host 8.0. So within our lab, we are using one virtual machine running with Microsoft Windows Server 2022, and we are using vSphere ESXi host version 8.0 and vCenter version 8.0, and we are going to install Red Hat OpenShift version 4.13. Okay, and before start the installation, let's quickly understand what is the Red Hat OpenShift 4.x on vSphere solution architecture. If you notice the solution architecture, whenever we plan to install the Red Hat OpenShift, we need a internet access, and we are planning to choose our platform as VMware vSphere platform. So our management component we need vCenter server, and within the vCenter we need a one provisioning network, and we also need one helper VM. We call it as helper node or bastion node. In other words, we call it as a provisioning node. You can use Red Hat Enterprise Linux 8.x, any 8 series version or 9 series version. In our lab, currently I'm using latest version RHEL 9.2 version. Okay, and also we need a DHCP server, DNS server, and router. So for testing purpose, I configured DHCP, DNS, and router on a Windows domain controller server. But in the real-time scenario, either you can use Windows flavor VM or Linux flavor VM based on the customer requirement. So when we start using helper node, first it will prepare a bootstrap node. Using this bootstrap node, it will start provisioning a 3 master node VMs and 3 worker node VMs. Master node VMs, we can also call it as controller node, and worker node VMs, we can also call it as compute node VMs. And some cases, we will also configure additionally 3 infrastructure nodes as well. So either way is fine. And this bootstrap node I mentioned as temporary. Reason is during the deployment only we need bootstrap node. Once the control node and compute nodes are provisioned, this bootstrap node will remove automatically. Okay, so now let's start the pre-implementation steps. Within the before we start pre-implementation step, let's understand what are all the IP address we are going to use in our lab. So our lab domain controller name is gcglab.com, and IP address, within our lab we are using only one IP series only, class C IP address series 192.168.10 series only, and subnet mask for all the IP systems same subnet mask, and gateway is 10.1, and DNS we are using .53 IP address, and OCP OpenShift Container Platform Cluster we decided to give the name as OCP, and version name for instead of 4.13 I given as 413. Okay, and virtual machine, we have one vCenter server running with the IP is 80 at 80. vCenter server name I given as a VC01. And in our lab, we have only one ESX server, IP address 81, and DC 53 IP address. We already configure Red Hat helper node VM. We can also call it as bastion node. That IP address is 41, and we configured two DNS records, one for API VIP, ingress VIP 40 to 43, last digits. And we also configured a DHCP scope from IP series 10 to 40. We created a DHCP scope. Reason is DHCP scope for OpenShift nodes. That means master nodes and worker nodes. Okay, so these are the IP list. When you prepare this IP address list, it's easy for us to start the deployment. Okay, and also one key point we highlighted as DNS record. So these DNS records are always we should have a some format as per the Red Hat website. What we noticed is API VIP format should be API dot cluster name dot base domain, and ingress VIP record should be star dot apps dot cluster name dot base domain. Cluster name we given as OCP 413 is the cluster name, and base domain is gcglab.com. Okay, and the purpose of API VIP is mainly for must point it to the load balancer for the control plane mission. Even if you see the diagram, API VAP, it's a dedicated for control plane VMs, and Ingress VAP dedicated for the worker node VMs. The same point we highlighted here. So the record resolved by both clients external to the cluster from all the nodes within the cluster. But key point is this is pointed to the control plane machines. When you see the star dot apps, that means a wildcard DNS, a record or CNAME, canonical name record, that points to the load balancer that target the machines that are ingress router pods, which are worker nodes by default. Okay, that is the key point. This is for control plane machine. This is for worker nodes. This record must be resolved by both client external cluster from all the nodes within the cluster. Okay, so now let's start with the pre-implementation steps. See, within the Red Hat OpenShift deployment, if you are really implementing within your production environment, first we have to prepare a action plan with the step-by-step instruction of your compute, network, and storage. For example, how the action plan looks like is, I just prepared one sample spreadsheet. See, the action plan will be like this. We prepared with pre-implementation steps, implementation procedure, and post implementation steps. I just given the lab steps. Even in some organization they may have some additional steps specific to the organization. Those you can include, but the action plan template will be similar to this. And we already have ESX and vCenter. If you want to verify the ESX and vCenter, let me log into our lab system. Within our lab system we have a vCenter server. If I go to the home, we have vCenter server. Within a vCenter server, we have one cluster, data center, and one ESXi host. Okay, now back to the slide. Let's say we have ESXi vCenter, and we also validated the action plan. Action plan also we validated just now, the sample Excel sheet, and another one is ESXi 8 and vCenter also we verified from our lab system. And another one is Windows Server running with Windows Virtual Machine running with AD, DNS and DHCP. The same server only we managed to RDP earlier. Let's say, let me connect to the lab system. See, we have a DC01 server. It is running with Windows Server 2022. And this server is currently configured with a ADDS, Active Directory Domain Services, DHCP, and DNS. These three roles are already configured. Okay, let me minimize. And this step also completed. Just for with interest for time, I just pre-builded our setup for ESX, vCenter, and VM. And also helper VM also, we already deployed a VM from the template, but instead of 8.x, we deployed the VM with Red Hat Enterprise Linux 9.2 edition. So 9 series edition we deployed. Even if we connected that VM machine from the command line, if you want to verify the host version, hostname.ctl, hostname CTL, when you type hostname CTL, we'll find the computer name is RHOCP helper 01 and the version is 9.2. Okay, so minimum requirement is 8. Series, or you can configure latest version as well. And this also we validated. And another point, join all system to base domain, create a domain account for vCenter. So this step also completed. If you see within our vCenter, all the systems are joined to the domain controller, and even our ESX also joined to the domain controller. And our vCenter system also, when you go to the administration tab, under administration tab, select the configuration. In the right pane, you can select Active Directory domain. Our system already joined to domain, and we need a one domain account. See, I already created account with my name Gnan. I created a full permission administrator role permission. Okay, so this validation also completed. And another point, configure DNS record for OpenShift cluster. This records also created. I will show you from the lab system. Log into the DNS console. If you go to the reverse lookup zone, there are two records created, 42 and 43. See, 42 dedicated for API IP and 43 dedicated for star.apps record. Okay. And another point is DHCP scope for OpenShift cluster. Even DHCP scope also, log into the console. We already created a DHCP scope. If you see the display, we already assigned 30 IP address, 31 IP address, and address pool ranges. When you go to the scope option, we can see the range under the address pool. The range is assigned from starting IP 10 and end IP address is 40. Okay. Now another point is we have to download the OpenShift installer. Even OpenShift installer also, if you want to download, we have to download from the Red Hat OpenShift website. So you can see here, deploy in your data center. This website is developers.redhat.com. From the website, when you type in the Google Red Hat OpenShift download, it will redirect it to this website. So from the developer website, if you are planning to install on premises, you can choose this trial edition for 60 days and download. When you click on start your trial edition, it will redirect it to Red Hat Hybrid Cloud Console. And here you can download OpenShift installer Linux flavor, and similarly command line interface Linux flavor, you can just download. So currently I already downloaded these two files, OpenShift client linux star.gz and OpenShift install-linux star.gz. These two files are downloaded. So until now, we talk about our OpenShift deployment pre-implementation steps are completed. Now let's talk about Red Hat OpenShift deployment implementation procedure. So within the implementation procedure, the first step is excuse me, generating the key pair for your OpenShift cluster node SSH access. So let's generating a key pair now. So we have a multiple methods to export the certificates from the Linux system and also the our vCenter server. Let's say our vCenter server is just trying to open a home page. When we open a vCenter server home page, within the home page, you can see in the right side, download trusted roots EA certificates. So you can just right click here. You can choose the option save link as. When you select save link as, it will store it as a download zip file. So click on save. So when the download zip is saved successfully, we have to upload this file to our Linux system. So Linux system, our RCP helper VM, we connected through using MobXStorm. Using MobXStorm, whenever we connected, MobXStorm have a facility to upload option. So just select the upload option and you can choose our downloaded vCenter certificates, click on open. So upload is in progress, it is complete. In the left side, you can see download.zip is uploaded. From the command line, if you want to see, let me clear the screen and you can type ls. You can see there is a download zip file is already copied. So in order to unzip this file, you can type unzip space download zip -d. The download zip content can be copied to the download folder. Okay, so now enter. So download also completed. To verify that one, just type 3. When you type tree, within these certificates are, we have a Linux certificate, Mac OS certificates, and Windows certificates. Okay, and all are under the sets folder. Okay, now we can also generate a local certificate that is SSH hyphen self-signed certificate SSH hyphen keygen. When you type SSH hyphen keygen, we can generate a default local certificate. It's already generated now. To validate this one, you can type ls space -al. You can see .ssh. This is the local certificate. Okay. Now we have to copy these Linux certificates. Whatever we copied from the vCenter server, this certificate can be copied to the CA trust location. So in order to copy to the CA trust location, the default location is, you can go to the use the command cp space, and before that we can change our directory to cd download location. When you type here ls, there is a set location. So you can use now cp space sets. Within the sets, we are going to use Linux flavor. So Linux star, that means whatever the files inside the Linux folder in Linux directory, all will be copied. And you can use the default location is /etc pki and /ca trust and / we have to use the source, and also we have to type anchors. Okay, when you press tab, it will automatically redirect it here. Now enter. That means the Linux, whatever we download from vCenter, those files are copied to this default etc pk ca trust source anchors location. Now, to update the trust, we have to run the command update hyphen ca hyphen trust space extract. When you run this command, what will happen is the trust will be established between our OCP helper VM as well as vCenter server. So that point only I highlighted in our slide. Okay, this step also completed. Now adding vCenter server root certificates to OpenShift helper VM to establish trust. This step also just now we completed using the command update hyphen ca hyphen trust extract command. Okay, now we are going to create a working directory on a helper VM. So how we can create is log into the server. So the directory can be anything. Let's say go to the CD location ls. We have only this folders now. I'm creating a directory name can be any name. Let's say mkdir make directory to OCP 413. Same as our cluster name I'm creating. When you type ls, you can see our directory is created. Okay, same point I highlighted here. See, working directory is complete. Now, extract the OpenShift installer in a present working directory. So in order to extract this one, first we have to upload the downloaded OpenShift files. So let's do that point now. Again, use the same mobex term upload option. We already downloaded OpenShift binaries. Select these two files, OpenShift install Linux and OpenShift client both, and click on open. When you click on open, these two files will be uploading here. In the below, you can see upload is in progress. See in the graphical also we can see, even when you type ls, we can see OpenShift client and OpenShift installer both are copied now. Okay, and the step now is we are going to extract. Okay, so in order to extract this tar gz file, we can use the command tar xvf. Okay, and we can use the OpenShift client first. Now enter. See, OpenShift client is extracted. Either you can use move or copy command to migrate these two folders to default location. Why we are seeing this default location is that can be found from a readme file. When I type readme file here, you can see the information. The default location is /usr/local/bin. Okay, the same location we are going to copy now. So command is mv space hoc space. We are going to copy kubectl and we are copying to the same location /usr/local/bin. Now enter. Copy is completed. Now similarly, we have to extract tar space xvf. We have to extract the another folder, that is OpenShift install zip file. So extract this one. Within the OpenShift install folder, you can see readme file as well as OpenShift-install. So this one also same, either you can use copy command or move command to copy this one to the default location /user/local/bin. Okay, once copy is completed, to validate this one, change the directory to /usr/local and /bin and verify, type ls space hyphen al. You can see whatever we extracted kubectl oc, these binaries are already copied to default location. Okay, now validation is completed. Let's go to the cd change directory and type ls. Only the zip file we have, but the extracted files are already moved to the default location. Okay, now the another point is, let's back to the slide. We'll validate that the extract OpenShift installer in a present working directory, this step is completed. Excuse me. Now we are going to create a install config aml file. I will show you how we can create install config aml file. So again, let's back to the lab system. Let me clear the screen here. So now to create that file, what we can do is the command is same as OpenShift install. So while creating, you can use the command create install hyphen config space, and we can choose the default our directory wherever we are going to create. So our directory name is our we given as a cluster name OCP 413. Okay, now click on enter. When we click on enter, it is showing us SSH keys. So we can choose our default SSH key under /roots.ssh. So now enter. And again, our platform, we are planning to use the platform not on the cloud, not on the Nutanix. We are choosing our platform as a vSphere. Click on enter. Okay. And now vCenter. Our vCenter name, either we can give the IP address or we can give the fully qualified domain name. Let's say our vCenter fully qualified domain name is, when you go to the inventory, we can see here vc01gcglab.com. So let's copy the same name and paste it here. Okay, now enter. And username, I already created username, same username, nan@gcglab.com, the same username. And the password we have to enter. Once password is entered, it is asking us to choose the data store. Let's say I'm choosing the data store, local data store. And it is asking for a API IP address. As per our records, API IP address is mapped to the 42 IP address. So same IP address we can enter here. 192.168.10. Our IP address is 42. Okay. Now IP address is enter, press enter. Now another IP address is virtual IP address for ingress. So ingress is 43. That means star.apps IP address 192.168.10.43. Okay. Now press enter. And base domain. Our base domain is gcglab.com. And the cluster name OCP 413. This is our cluster name. Even if you see in our DNS also, within our DNS, you can see cluster name we given as a OCP 413. The same name I given here. Okay, now enter. And the full secret, this full secret we can found from a Red Hat website. While downloading, we can see there is a full secret. Just copy the full secret. This secret can be valid only for 24 hours. So just copy here, paste the full secret. Once you copy, press enter, it will create. See, the install config is created in this directory. So to validate this one, change directory to our OCP 413 directory and type ls space -al. You can see there is a install config YAML file is created. Okay. And if you want to review this YAML file, cat space install config YAML file, you can see whatever the details we given, all the YAML entries are, you can find information here. Our base domain information and how many workers and how many master nodes, 3 master node, 3 worker nodes it's going to create. And the cluster network, it's automatically configured by default. And API VIP we given 42. Ingress VIP 43, and we given as our password and also the our ID, and even we given as a full secret. Okay, let me clear the screen now. Now the next command, when go back to the slide, we completed the creation of install config YAML. Using this YAML file only, we are going to deploy a OpenShift cluster. So to deploy the OpenShift cluster, again back to the lab system, and the command is same as previous command, OpenShift install. And we have to use create. In earlier we used the command create install config, but this time we have to use create cluster command. Okay, so create cluster space hyphen directory. Our directory name is OCP 413. Okay, and space, and we have to enter as our log level information. So log level equal to info. Okay, when you type this command, it will start creating a OpenShift 4.13 cluster. Now just press enter. So we have to monitor the screen. This installation process, what it will do is, if you see here, consuming install config from target directory, it's obtaining the RHCOS. RHCOS means Red Hat Core Operating System image file. It is trying to pull from the Red Hat official website. So it will pull the file. That file, if you see here, file extension is .ova. OVA means Open Virtual Appliance. Using this appliance, it will prepare a bootstrap node. Using the bootstrap node, it will start deploying the multiple virtual machines. Multiple virtual machines means 3 machines dedicated for master node and 3 machines dedicated for worker nodes. Totally 6 machines will create. And this creation process may take approximately 45 minutes to 60 minutes time. It depends on our network speed also, and also the available resources on our ESXi host. So sometime it may take around 45 minutes, sometime it may take around 60 minutes time. Okay. So now you can see the information creating infrastructure resources. Now verify the what is happening within our vCenter. If you go to the vCenter, see if you see here already within our vCenter, earlier we have only DC VM and vCenter VM, helper VM, 3 VMs. Now if you notice there is a bootstrap VM created and 3 masters also created. But the configuration it's not at power on. Yeah, now it's power on. The configuration part may take a while to complete all this. Okay, even in the recent task, if you notice, it's powered on just now. After we run the command only, it's reconfiguring the virtual machine. And if you see, first it's created a template, deploy OVF template. Using the template only, it's a start creating a multiple VMs. Okay. And this bootstrap node, as I mentioned, it is only temporary. Once master and workers are created, bootstrap will remove automatically. Okay. Now let's back to the helper VM command line. See, if you see here, information waiting up to 20 minutes. So we have to wait for 20 minutes. Let's back to the slide in the meantime. See, deploy OpenShift cluster, we already initiated, and creating infrastructure resources using bash and node. This portion also we just now validated from vCenter server, and monitor until the OpenShift cluster install complete. Okay, so as I mentioned, installation complete may take until around 45 minutes to 60 minutes time. Okay, so let's back to the lab system again. We'll monitor the status. After 20 minutes, again, it will shows another 40 minutes time. Okay, that's why I'm covering overall time is 40 plus 20, 40 plus 20, around 60 minutes time. So with interest of our time, I will just stop the video here and we'll continue in the part 2 session. Within the part 2 session, we'll notice the completion status as well as I will show you the OpenShift console login details. Okay. So hope you understand the OpenShift deployment on single ESXi host, because in our previous sessions, I shown you how to deploy OpenShift cluster 4.11 on within a cluster when we have a 3 ESXi host. But some of our viewers are asking, is it possible to deploy a single ESXi host? Yes, it's possible. Even if you see in our lab system, I have only one single ESXi box, and within a single ESXi box, I have one Windows Active Directory, vCenter server, and helper VM. Within this 3 VM, we started the OpenShift cluster deployment. Now see, bootstrap created, 3 masters also created, and maybe after some time, workers also will create. The creation is still in progress. See, if you see here, see 20 minutes is already passed. It is saying that info API is up. Now waiting for another 30 minutes for the bootstrapping to complete. Okay. See, we notice the bootstrapping option also. Even when you see here, when I open the master VM, open the web console, you can see web console already logged in successfully. Master 0. And same way, if when you see the master 1, even master 1 also, user provisioned config was applied. And same way, master 2, see, all are up. Okay. So, and the workers also will create. Maybe we have to wait another 30 minutes. So with interest of our time, this monitoring status, I will stop the video here. We'll continue in the part 2. Okay. Hope you understand these steps. Thank you. If you're watching this video first time, please do view, like, share, and subscribe to the Gnan Cloud Garage channel. If you're already subscribed, I appreciate all your support. Bye for now.